Today we're doing Module 4, Lesson what?
28.
28, very good. There's 31 lessons. 31? 32?
33.
Sorry, 33 lessons altogether. So either way, we're nearing the end, okay? And today your learning goal is I can write equations and word problems based on tape diagrams. So you know how usually we read a word problem and then we draw a tape diagram and then we solve it? What do we call that strategy? The RDW. Today we're kind of reversing it. We're putting it on its head. We're looking at it upside down. We're going to look at the tape diagram first, the drawing, and then you're going to have to write the problem. Does that make sense? This basically tests or challenges you to see how well you understand tape diagrams. Do you see that connection there? Okay. If you can see a tape diagram and write the equation that goes along with it, or write a word problem that goes along with it, that makes it so much easier for you when you read a word problem and then you have to solve it. So that's what we're going to do today. Before we get started writing any sort of story problem or anything like that, I want you to take a look and analyze this tape diagram. Okay? Do you see how there's all together, there's one piece of tape, and how long is that piece of tape? 5. And because the directions say to write a story problem about 5 meters of rope, we know that the unit for this should be 5 what? Meters. Okay, let's fill that in. Okay. Now, what's happening to the 5 meters? Is it being cut up or is it being copied? Cut up. And as it's being cut up, how big is each piece? 1/4 of a meter, right? And where's the question mark? Circle the question mark, because the question mark tells you what you're trying to find. So, because the question mark is in front of the fourths, what's it asking you to find? How many fourths there are in this 5 meters. So, before we write a story problem, let's first figure out what equation is being modeled. See if you can challenge yourself to write down the equation that's being modeled. What's happening to the rope? How much rope do we have to begin with? 5 meters. And then are we making copies, or are we dividing it up into small pieces? Dividing it, okay. And how big is each piece? 1/4. So we're trying to do 5 divided by 1/4, or to find out how many fourths fit inside 5 meters. Do you agree? Okay, so the equation is 5 divided by 1/4. But it tells us to write a story problem. So now, next to it, please write a story problem about 5 meters of rope that's modeled by this tape diagram. Let's take a look at some of these word problems or story problems that you've created. And let's talk about if it actually shows 5 divided by 1/4. Keep in mind that the equation we're trying to show, because the tape diagram shows, is 5 divided by 1/4. Okay? So let's take a look at this first one. Jim is doing a project that requires 5 meters of ribbon, but he only has pieces, 1/4 size pieces. How many of those 1/4 sized pieces does he need? Does that accurately show 5 divided by 1/4? We're trying to figure out how many quarter-sized pieces he needs to add up to 5 meters. Is that 5 divided by 1/4? Yes. Okay, let's take a look at this one. A tightrope walker has 5 meters of rope. He needs 1/4 of the rope. How much of the rope does he use? What do you guys think? Does this show 5 divided by 1/4? Let's analyze this problem for a second. What's the question asking us to find with a quiet answer hand? Pretend this is a word problem you need to solve. This is a story problem after all. What's the question asking us to find? Sanatan?
It's asking us to find how much rope is used.
Okay, this word problem is asking us to figure out how much rope he uses. What important information does the problem give us? Jithya?
5 meters.
He has 5 meters of rope, and he needs 1/4 of the rope. So what equation would you do to solve this problem? What equation would you do to solve this problem? Arvind? What does the word of mean? It's 1/4 of the rope. So it'd be 1/4 times 5. Is that the same thing as 5 divided by 1/4? No. So be careful. This problem does not show it. This time, if you have to draw a tape diagram first, how long should my starting piece of tape be? 2. So I'm going to draw a piece of tape. I'm going to split it down the middle and show that this is 2. Okay? Now, I have to split it into what sized pieces? Thirds. So how many thirds will I have altogether? 6. So I know my answer is 6, right? Because I have 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3, 5/3, 6/3. So my answer is going to be 6. But now I need to create a word problem.